suit or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my steps, the curl of my lips. I am a woman. Phenomenally woman. That's me.
I walk into a room, dress as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellow stand or falls down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's a fire in my eyes, it's a flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist,
Yeah.
in my feet.
Okay.
I'm a woman.
Yes.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal woman, that's me.
Yes, ma'am.
There are folks, they try to us that can't touch me.
Right.
My inner mystery, when I try to show them, they think they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back. The center of my smile, the rise of my breath, the grace of my style. I'm a woman. Phenomenal. Not just woman. That's me.
Yes.
Yes.
Now you understand just why my head not bowed.
Okay.
I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud.
Okay.
When you see me passing, I ought to make you proud. I say it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. Because I am a phenomenal woman. Phenomenal woman, that's me.
That's me. All together, y'all. Can we say it? That's me.
That's me.
That's me. Phenomenal women. I thank you again for coming. Thank you, ladies, for sharing in my speech. And Mr. Richard, are you ready? Okay, so I invited a friend. Actually, I know his wife, Tamara Wilson, and this is her husband, Rayshawn Wilson. And Mr. Rayshawn, I am horrible that I did not bring my introductory speech for you.
I got you. You don't got to worry about it. I got you.
You know, I usually don't have men at my event, okay? But I wanted a man to come and witness the inspiration. So, Mr. Rayshawn Wilson, welcome, and
Thank you.
for
Thank
coming.
you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, when I walked up here, I told my wife saw my eyes. I was just like, wow. It's like a whole lot of beautiful black women in one spot. And so thank you for inviting me to this event. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Rayshawn Wilson. I am a life design strategist and motivational servant leader. I am a therapist by trade. I've been working with individuals now over the past 20 years in a variety of different capacities in terms of just helping folks and moving folks forward. A big part of my brand has a lot to do with living your truth, and specifically living your truth 365. And I want to take a couple minutes while I got the floor to be able to talk to you guys about what it means to live your truth 365. And when she asked me to come, I knew that living your truth was going to be a big part of the soul part of it. But I really contemplated just in terms of what aspects of living your truth 365 that I wanted to talk about. And as she gave me more information, I came up with, as I pull up my notes, as relates to self-love. You guys will think about that for a minute. Self-love. Now, when I talk about living your truth, what it means is to not live in a den of deception. We think about that. To live your truth is to not live in a den of deception. And if we're honest and we think about the areas of our life, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's professionally, whether it's financially, whether it's health and wellness, if we really think about all those key areas, ask yourself, are you truly living your truth right now? Or are you living in some form of den of deception? When you're living your truth, you're being courageous in those particular areas about who you are. But most importantly, not just about being courageous about who you are, but you know who you are, right? You know who you are. So let me go through this piece real quick, just in terms of how do I live my truth in terms of achieving self-love. Number one, and we're all guilty of this, we have to stop comparing ourselves to others. We have to stop comparing ourselves to others. We're socialized in so many ways to be so competitive. Comparing ourselves to others is actual natural. In this era of social media, where everything is on social media in terms of, especially in terms of black women, in terms of how you ladies should look, how you should feel, what you should dress. And it's very easy, and I have to admit, I do it too. As a black man, I do it too. But we have to get out of this habit of comparing yourself to others. I tell my wife all the time, we have this thing in our house, I tell people, and I tell us all the time, we have to run our own race. And horse racing, horses wear those blinders for a reason. It helps them to stay focused on the task at hand. And oftentimes, we don't have these blinders on to where it gives us the ability to be kind of all over the place. And so part of this self-love is making sure that, that we're not comparing ourselves to other people. Love who you are. Embrace who you are, right? But run your own race. When you look at someone else, it's real easy to be like, man, I wish I had that body. I wish I had what she had. But you don't know what it took for her to get that. Regardless of whether it was money, regardless of whether it was given up, you have no idea what it took that individual to sacrifice in terms of getting that. So we have to learn in terms of stop comparing ourselves, to other people. The shift of energy alone will help you to be free and get into that mindset in that area in terms of living your truth. The other thing is allow yourself and give yourself grace when you make mistakes. And particularly when you think about who you are and what you are now, that also means allowing yourself and giving yourself grace for the mistakes that you've made in the past. When you think about that, imagine how old you are now, and I always ask people is what would you tell yourself, let's say 10 to 15 years ago? What would that voice be like if you had a conversation with yourself for 10, 15 years ago? But I think that it's important that we allow ourselves some grace for not knowing, right? For not knowing what we needed to know today. Now, that also means too, when you think about allowing yourself those mistakes and giving yourself grace, that also means to be able to reflect back on what hurt you. Reflect back on what hurt you so that you don't allow yourself to be put in that situation again. And one of the things that I think about with regards to that, I work with my coaching business, I work primarily with a lot of women. And one of the biggest aspects that, with women I work and talk about is relationships. And I always tell women that don't go back to what broke you. Even in the midst of being lonely, don't go back to whatever it was that broke you. And it's real easy in the midst when you're searching for love and even, you want to be loved by the right man. And it's real easy sometimes to go back to different situations of what hurt you. But that's part of loving yourself, which is connected to living your truth. This is a big one. Don't be afraid to let go of toxic individuals. When you think about who's in your circle right now, right? You think about who's in your circle. Your circle should be a reflection of your destiny and not your past. So if you have individuals, think about it. There's some individuals that I know that I had in my life that were so draining, emotionally, financially, spiritually, that just by the mere of talking to them, when you get done talking to them, you are literally like, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. And those individuals, you have to learn how to create and separate and create boundaries. Even family members. I don't know about y'all, but I got some family members. Am I talking to somebody? Yeah, I have some family members that are completely drained. And I know that I have to love them from a distance. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm loving folks from a distance. But what happens is that when you continue to allow toxic individuals to stay close to you, it really prohibits you in a lot of different ways from really living your truth. It does. Because you're going to be focused, and if you're like me, somebody that loves, I'm in the health profession. What it does is it simply drains you. It doesn't allow you to be fully who you are. Toxic people will take everything out of you and not put anything back into you.
Yes, sir.
Right? And if you think about, when I think about toxic individuals, I also think about always asking people to check your circle. I have, and I always talk about what I have, is what I call a circle of 5. And that circle of 5 can look different for you, it can look different for your friend, from other friends, but that circle of 5 is a confidant, somebody who supports you, a spiritual advisor, somebody who motivates you, and the other one is somebody you can escape with, right? Now, that circle of 5 again can be different. It can be a circle of 3, it can be a circle of 7. But I think that it's really, really important these days and times to really check and see who's in your circle. And if those individuals are doing more of taking from you than pouring into you, then you have to make a sound decision in terms of how you place them in your life. All right, moving right along. We get loving yourself also means being able to process your feelings. Feeling afraid is really a natural feeling, right? And I think it's important to think about what those fears are. I was in a leadership conference a week ago, and a question that popped up, still pondering over this, and I want you guys to think about this. What would you be doing right now if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you be doing right now if you knew that you couldn't fail? And most times, what I've realized is that most people are not living their truth in a variety of different areas is because they're afraid. They are simply afraid. They're afraid to fail. They're afraid to start. They're afraid of what other people are going to say. And I've learned over the past several years, folks, that being afraid does more in terms of hindering you than moving you forward in life, right? And so we can't allow ourselves to allow fear and process those things. Listen, where is this fear coming from? Is it coming from, a place of hurt from the past? I always ask, are you being led by your spirit or are you being led by your will? And those things are important. Trust yourself to make good decisions for yourself. In other words, get into the spirit of where you're betting on yourself.
Amen. You
got to bet on yourself.
Right.
I made up my mind, and especially in 23, if there's two things I'm betting on, I'm betting on myself and I'm betting on God.
Amen.
Let me say that again. I'm betting on myself and I'm betting on God. That means I'm not going to be afraid to shoot my shot for that advancement. I'm not going to be afraid to shoot my shot for that contract. I'm not going to be afraid to shoot myself. I'm not going to be afraid at all. I'm going to bet on myself,
Period.
and I'm going to bet on God.
Yes.
Knowing that God has me,
Right.
no matter what.
Right.
And it's not easy to bet on yourself. We come and with a lot of insecurities and a lot of different. And listen, I tell women all the time, even in the forms of dating, you better shoot your shot. You better go and have a conversation with that man and shoot that DM, because when you don't, somebody else will. We can't sit back. You better go shoot your shot for that promotion. You better go shoot your shot and ask for what you want. Because when you don't, somebody else will. So I'm betting on myself And I think it's important in terms of living your truth, in terms of betting on God. The other thing is putting yourself first. If you like me, you're a parent, you're responsible for all these things, and putting yourself first also includes in terms of self-care.
Right.
And self-care can be in a form, really self-care, quite honestly. Me and my wife, we make it our business with each other to promote and practice self-care and then individually. Because I think those things are done in a marriage and a relationship. Those things are done. I love my wife. God knows that. She knows that I don't mind. If there ain't nobody else I love spending time with, I'm going to spend time with my wife. But she also knows too that I love spending time with myself. That self-care can come in many forms. Whether you're taking a trip, whether you're setting that appointment up, you're beside, but you are taking the time and you are putting yourself first. And the way that you put yourself first is a couple things. Number one, you put it in that calendar that on Friday or this particular day or this particular time, this is what I'm going to be doing. And it's important that you let people know that no, I can't pick you up. No, I can't have this conversation with you because my self-care is thoroughly important. There's times when I know that she has that, I'm not asking her to do anything during that time because that's part of her self-care.
Right.
Right? And when you're a parent, when you're responsible for so much, it's so easy to get so caught up in doing everything for everybody. But then you gotta ask yourself, for as much as you're pouring into other people, who or what is pouring into you?
Come on now.
Think about that right now. You think about your life as you know it. Who or what is currently pouring into you? Or are they doing, again, more taking than giving? And so as I close, there's a question that I want to ask you. When you think about those particular areas in your relationship, your marriage, financially, spiritually, health and wellness, the question that I want to walk away from, that I want to leave you guys with is, are you living your truth? Thank you.
Woo!